Hey folks, so day 2 in Spain, day 1 at Budwig, German, so I say Budwig. So we arrived yesterday in Malaga, about kind of 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, really nice flight from Bournemouth, 2 hours. Got here in Malaga, taxi 10 minutes to this wonderful apartment we're in, which we've been given by Budwig for 2 weeks. I'm here, slightly longer than 2 weeks. Really lovely, basic, simple Spanish apartment, nice balcony right in the centre of Malaga. Perfect, really. Show you around a little bit in a minute, maybe. Just really simple as well, you know, not much, not lots of bells and whistles, just a really nice kind of amazing Spanish apartment. Let me show you a few things. So, here's the lounge. Random collection of plates, etc. Here's the outside apartment space, so the balcony. Kind of fairly urban, as you can see. Glimpses of mountains over there. I'll just show you most of the supplements and stuff that they've given me, because there's quite a lot, and a few of them I was taking before. I'll come on to the Vega machine stuff and what that means and why I'm not taking all of them. Vega machine is just in a nutshell, it's a German-based instrument, I guess, that kind of reads your body's energy. So if you put something in it like magnesium, it would tell you whether you need magnesium or not. If you put something in it like wheat, it would tell you whether your body doesn't like wheat, and you can pick up kind of inconsistencies and all that kind of thing. So it's an amazing thing, and it really does work. It's not something they use a lot in the UK, but Germany, you know, their entire military is completely done through Vega in terms of their health and so on. Loads more I can talk about that, but this is all the stuff that I've kind of been given. So I'm not very good at pronouncing this, but this is Ginkoga. I think it's an energy-based thing. Iodine. Loads kind of written on iodine to do with general health and cancer. Most people have an iodine deficiency. Horrendous tasting stuff, it tastes like chlorine. But you can put it on, you can do like what's called a iodine painting, which is you put two drops on your kind of stomach and rub it in ever so slightly, and you have this kind of patch on your tummy. And if it's still there within 24 hours, it means that your body doesn't need iodine. But the vast majority of people find that patch just gets absorbed into their body within literally, I don't know, 2 hours or something. I'm going to try that tonight and see what happens. I suspect that I've got an iodine deficiency, as like I said, most people have. But yeah, amazing thing. Loads written about iodine in terms of its kind of health and stuff. Yeah, urine stuff. Quite sure how I'm going to get on with those, considering the size and how generous God was with my. Actually, might go there. Sion Plus, no idea what that is at the moment, but apparently picked up with the Vega that I need that. Bee pollen, incredible stuff, bee pollen. I'll try and show you a tiny bit. This is kind of bee pollen, you probably can't see that. If you can see that, it's a bit dark. It's wonderful stuff. They do say that if you just had water and bee pollen for the rest of your life, you've lived a perfectly normal, healthy life. It genuinely contains every element that you need for life, bee pollen. So it's incredible stuff. I bought that at home in England. Curcuma, which I think is basically turmeric. In the Vega test, he really picked up turmeric for me as something big time. Essential oils, again, not quite sure what they are yet, but something I need. Yeah, that looks like the same stuff actually, this Curcuma stuff. These are vials. So what I mean by vials is, if you look at them, it's those glass vials that you pick off the end, and it's like a detox drainage, really. And there's 2 sets. I can't pronounce them, but they're both different. And you put them in water. So again, I'm not quite sure if you can see that, but this water here looks slightly more like wee than say that one. That's got those vials in, and it kind of tastes okay, not amazing. Spirulina, incredible stuff. This is an algae, freshwater algae. It contains more protein than meat and fish. I think it's something like 60% protein. I might be wrong, but check it out. Just the most incredible superfood there is, or one of them at least. Massively useful for anyone with health conditions, or particularly cancer. Yeah, 65% protein, that says. All this other stuff down here is stuff that they give. So Budwig give people lots of different things. You know, and I've got this collection, but based on Vega, this is what I need. Based on Vega, again, this is, I could have it, but I don't need it. So, for example, I've been taking probiotics for many years, and well, the last 3, I guess. Not all the time. I take it twice a year, and they tested this and said I don't need it. I've got enough probiotic, you know, healthy bacteria in my stomach, although it's not perfect. But the vegan machine says you don't need it. And the other thing is that they don't want to overwhelm my system with stuff. They want to give you what you need right now. So this is on this shelf at the moment, but in 2 weeks' time it might be up here, and it will change all the time depending on Vega. And all this other stuff as well. I've got loads of other things that I bought from home, like, I don't know, zinc, all this kind of stuff. But again, based on vegan machine, I don't need it. So I'll put this back here. So yeah, today has been really cool. I spent the whole day there. I was there from, I think I got there at 10, can't quite remember, 10 o'clock. So Budwig is based on loads of stuff, but it's based on physics. So that's close to my heart in terms of medicine and health. You know, just talk to a physicist and ask them about the universe and energy, and you'll understand, hopefully, kind of what that means. So when you look at the NHS, lots of great things about the NHS. I've got a bit of a love-hate relationship with the NHS for various reasons. I love it in some ways. Sometimes I think they go too far with stuff, and I wish that they could integrate more, whatever you want to call it, alternative therapy, natural therapy, it's all the same thing. And they are starting to, apparently. They call it integrative medicine, where they kind of combine the two. But the NHS is based on pathology. I don't really know an awful lot about that, but it's based on kind of blood in the body. So there's something physically wrong with you. You know, cancer is a physical thing. Get it out, get surgery, take it out, have chemo, zap it. Again, I'm no doctor. Don't take my expertise, but my feeling is around that is that cancer is not one-sided. It's not just a physical thing. And again, any kind of really good cutting-edge books or sciences that you read around that, they all say the same thing. You know, that cancer is something that is physical. It's a physical manifestation in your physical body, but it's very much energy-based as well. You know, we are energy beings. Everything is energy. This pencil is energy. This green tea is energy. That water is energy. When I put green tea into it, the energy changes. Everything is energy. That is the prevailing or emerging science and medicine at the moment. Physics, energy, biomagnetism. I have a magnetic field. A human being can walk into, who's very sensitive, can walk into my magnetic field and sense things. If they step 2-3 meters away, they wouldn't. If they stepped within a meter, they could. And people that are really sensitive to that, energy healers and so on, are much more kind of in tune with that than perhaps normal people. So, you know, it's looking to nature and so on. So the planet has a biomagnetic field. I have a biomagnetic field, you do. So a Vega machine, my understanding of it is that I've got a fairly good one, I guess, but I'm not a Vega expert, is that it's based on energy, it's based on my biomagnetism. Everyone has their own energy fingerprint, I guess. It's that my energy is different than yours. Vaguely the same, but it's literally like DNA. I have my own energy field or fingerprint, if you like, which is why right now, when I had my Vega test today, I'm looking over the supplements now that they say, well, right now, based on your energy system, we see cancer. we see this, we see that, we don't see this, we see that, we see that, and they just kind of join up the dots and go for that. So that feels right to me. That feels quite kind of complete and whole. There's lots of things that I can go to the NHS and so on, which seem quite interesting, but right now what I'm interested in is kind of nurturing my body really in many ways. It clearly kind of needs it in some way. So for example, I talked about this kind of one-sidedness or non-one-sidedness of cancer, which again is my opinion, it's my perspective, it's shared by many, many other people, and again, lots of people would argue with me about that. It's just my opinion. Opinions are neither wrong or right. When I mean non-one-sided, what I mean is that for me, any disease, anything really, depression, anxiety, cancer, again, I'm kind of, again, I'm not a doctor. So for me, most things, particularly cancer, in my what I'm reading in my body is that it's physical, emotional, spiritual, environmental, ancestral as well in some way. I don't think ancestral is necessarily doesn't feel that way for me. I've been told by people that it isn't. You know, my mum and dad haven't got a long history or ancestry-wise in cancer. Sometimes that can be passed on and so on, I think. Environmental means that based on your environment. So, you know, if you lived in New York or China, then the chances are you'll probably get cancer more than most people that live in Japan or in the countryside, because you've got more pollutants and so on. And plus your body is an environment. Cancer can't survive physically in a body with a certain environment. So one of the reasons of a Budwig is to change that environment, particularly around the kind of acid alkali thing, and lots of other things. Change the environment in the sense that Budwig very much perceive cancer to be built up of toxins, metals, heavy metals, parasites, viruses. It's very rare that I've got a virus, they picked it up from the Vega machine. Very rare, most people have actually, but very rare that someone comes in with cancer and doesn't have a virus. It's like an underlying thing as far as Budwig is concerned. So physically, there's something there, which is odd as well, I think, because my diet, I mean, asking my mates, my diet I think is pretty good. Certainly, I'll run through some stuff in a minute, suggests that it could be a lot better. You know, compared to most people in the West and the UK, I think my diet's incredible. So I was quite surprised, obviously, when I got told that. I thought that, you know, my body's in good shape, but man, it could be in better shape by the looks of it. Emotional, yeah, it must be. You know, when I talk about emotional stuff, you know, they do EFT here. I don't know, emotion is something quite deep, so at the moment it doesn't feel as if it could be emotional, but certainly I'd be lying to you if I said that it doesn't feel categorically that it couldn't be emotional in some way, whatever that means. Spiritual, definitely, and if you look at my foundation video, you'll see what I mean by that. That's something that's, you know, it's hard to put into words, and it's not something you can kind of categorise as such. So that's going to be quite interesting, and like I said, I've mentioned environmental and ancestral. So Vega, so what they picked up on is a few things. I've got heavy metals in me, big time, which most people have, but particularly myself. Lots of lead, for some weird reason. Lead is a really odd thing to have in you. It's not like, you know, he's asking me a lot about kind of my occupations in the past, whether I've worked in factories and had things to do with lead. I can't think of anything at all. Certainly I worked in the building trade and stuff, and you'd need, you know, like I worked in a factory for 2 weeks, and he said that wouldn't be the case. You'd need to work in it for years. So lead is a weird thing. Lead pipes could massively contribute to that. I mean, again, I'm guessing here, but the school that I was at from 4 to 12 years old was a very old school. It's been knocked down now. They could have had lead pipes. Could have massively contributed to that. With my family, I lived in some quite old homes that could again contribute to that. Again, don't want to get too wrapped up in that. The fact is I have lead in my body and it's got to kind of get rid of it. There's a virus underlying it. Yeah, I've mentioned the meds and Bart Flowers as well. That was something that I didn't show you actually. Let me show you that. Yeah, Bart Flower, anyone would have seen that. It's in the weird bottle because it's bespoke. But Bart Flower is the kind of lovely yellow labelled bottle, and if you bought something from, say, Boots, it's Bart Flower. It's very out the box, let's say. Whereas this one, based on Vega, this is for me. If you went in there, you'd get something different, completely different, and the combinations are very different. So what I've got is, I don't know what this is, Century, Crabapple I've heard of, never heard of this, Mimulus, Rock Rose I've heard of, and Rock Water I'm not quite sure, but I take 4 drops of this 4 times a day. That is an emotional thing. So Bart Flowers is, I think it's homeopathy, not quite sure. That is to address emotional imbalances and so on, which again most people have really, particularly in the UK and the West, where we've got this kind of crazy lifestyle of kind of moving at some stupid pace. The other thing you mentioned, which was really interesting, is that when you go to the NHS, they've got their own ways of kind of measuring stuff, which is all valid. So I had a CT scan, an MRI scan in the UK, in the hospital. I also had the ultrasound. MRI scans are really important, but what they look at is size and location. So they saw a swelling on my pancreas and it was this big. So that's kind of like looking at a photo as opposed to looking at, say, a video. It's very one-sided. Now, what the Vega machine is telling us today, which is really kind of encouraging, is actually the way that it's felt for me, is that the swelling, so let's call that swelling 100%, is 40% cancer and 60% inflammation. So that's quite encouraging. If you look at the MRI scan, that 100% thing, I presume the NHS would be saying that's all cancer. It's their perspective, and in their world that's correct. I'm not saying it isn't correct in their world at all. But here for Budwig it's 40%, 60%. And that's the way it's felt for me. In fact, I can only tell you how I feel. You know, millions of people can try and prove me wrong or prove me right. It doesn't matter. I can just base on how I feel. It's that the second I got told by people that I had cancer, I felt as if I was healed already. I felt like I was healing from that moment onwards. So it could be that that cancer was 100% and it's now resided and it's left a trace of inflammation, or it's exactly the same. I don't know, but I've just felt as if since the second I was told, and I came to terms with it very, very quickly and embraced it and kind of fell in love with it, that somehow that tension has kind of gone and maybe led to some kind of decrease. I don't know. That's the way it's felt. I'm also having my fillings replaced. You probably can't see this, but like most people, particularly of my age, I've got 6 mercury fillings, I think. And again, you know, all grew up the same way, drinking Diet Coke, crazy amount of penny sweets, all that kind of crap stuff that you're not meant to have. And particularly, again, you went to the NHS, not necessarily the NHS, just the dentist, when we were 12, 11, 16, you know, they just whacked fillings in. I don't think they do that so much now, but that was certainly just kind of come in, have a filling, come in, have a filling. So I've got 6, and this is big time for them, and it's big time for me. I've got lots of metal, heavy metals in my system. I don't think fillings are lead, but they're mercury, I think. So what research suggests about fillings is they have a massive impact on cancer. Cancer is this kind of horrible, gloopy thing that is almost like a swamp of crap. And a lot of it's heavy metals, viruses, and stuff that can spread. Let me just write that down. I had something else to tell you about spread. Yeah. So I'm having them all replaced with biofillings. There's a dentist here, a bilingual dentist that does biofillings. I'm going to have all 6 of them replaced over the next 2 weeks. I think it's about €50 a pop, £35 a tooth. And he's going to replace them all so that I don't have these kind of fillings, which is massively, massively important, apparently. It feels that way to me. And I'm being told that by Budwig and other people. And basically, apparently, anytime you have lemon, anytime you have a hot drink, tiny, tiny kind of residues and traces of that filling will go into your system and it will stay in your system. It's almost impossible to try and kind of release, whatever the word is, heavy metals without some significant hardcore treatment, which is Budwig do that for me. A lot of what they're doing is about removing those metals. I'll come to that in a minute. In fact, I'll lead straight on to one of them. Biomagnetism. Like I said, we have a magnetic field. If you put magnets in us, it changes our magnetic field. I mean, you know, when I talk about energy and magnets, I mean, if you walked into a room and there was two people having an argument, until the second you open that door and you walked into that room, you would know that they were having an argument. That's not a physical thing, that's not a mental thing. You would have picked up that, and that is an energy-based, I don't know if it's magnetic as well, but it's certainly energy-based for me, and that's true for you, true for everyone. You just know. There's people that you will meet every day in your life where you walk up to them and they will either sap your energy, or they'll give you energy, or you'll feel your body changes based on how they are, and that's energy. That isn't a mental or physical thing, it's just an energy thing. So the first time I've really heard about biomagnetism in the sense of treating your body in that way. But they picked up a lot today, and I've read this before as well, so I'm probably going to get this wrong, but something like viruses can only live in a... So talk about pH balance. So we are predominantly water. Water has a pH balance, alkali acid, I think that's right. And when you have biomagnetism, it makes your pH balance perfect. I think viruses can live in acid and parasites can live in alkali. I can't remember what the difference is, but there's crap stuff in both. Microorganisms as well is really important. When you have biomagnetism, it sorts out your pH balance so that neither can live, basically, for a short spell of time. I don't know if that goes back afterwards, but certainly during that procedure you feel amazing. And the guy that was doing it was very much picking up on imbalances in my body, because he feels it in his body. You know, he feels the imbalances in his body, and he does his thing. So for example, one of them was that I have microorganisms in my stomach which have a big impact on my cancer, or the cancer that is with me at the moment, because he feels that, which is a wonderful thing. It makes perfect sense. Why would he not? So he picked up some minor pain that I've had, which again I agree with. I've had hip pain before, knee pain, back pain, which I've got at the moment, and he picked them up through the biomagnetism. He said that I had some microorganisms in my stomach, which was probably given to me through measles. No, nothing more than that. I'm going to look into that, I don't know what that means. And I have some congestion in my liver. Most people have congestion in their liver. Your liver, as far as, you know, I think he said this today, but I've read it so many times, it's such an important organ. I mean, it's more important than your brain, really, in many ways, in terms of contributing to your body. It does so many amazing, important things, you know, full-on stuff the whole time. So I have congestion in my liver, and a part of Budwig is about flushing out your liver and making sure that these toxins, it's able to do its job and stuff. I've heard this before, but also one of the things that he said he felt is that I think that the label, and I'm not into labels really, I'm not into categories and stuff that much, but though I mentioned them a few times, but I try not to get wrapped up in them. I think you can kind of get a bit jarred and fixated on these things, but I think the cancer that they said I had, the NHS said I had, was an adenocarcinoma, which is a particularly aggressive one, but based on this biomagnetism we feel it isn't. So it's just two perspectives. You know, it's like saying I think red's the best colour and I think blue's the best colour. Apparently, based on this, it's not, and it doesn't feel that way to me. It just doesn't feel that way. And that was kind of confirmed today and so on. So that's good. It means that it's contained. Aggressive, I think, again, not a doctor, I think that aggressive tumours tend to spread faster and stuff. They get bigger, quicker, and mine perhaps won't. Doesn't feel that way to me. So that's biomagnetism. I also saw a doctor today here at Budwig. She talked very much about general medical-based stuff. She talked about doing some local hyperthermia treatment. I had some general hyperthermia treatment today. We had to check out about, I had a stent fitted in hospital, which again, if you look at the foundation video, you'll see more about that. I opted for a temporary stent for a number of reasons, and that was plastic. If it would have been metal, they couldn't have done local hyperthermia because it would have heated up. Hyperthermia, I think this is right, is a fever. A fever is a really, really, really healthy thing to have as far as your body's concerned. It's sweating. It's nature's way of ridding the body of poisons and toxins and heavy metals. I've had a fever last night here, and I had it 3 days ago, and I've had it about twice in the last 6 years. So last night I was unpacking, I felt generally crap. I felt as my bones ached, my skin's got pimpled, and I started to shiver bad, like I was properly shaking, and I got into bed and wrapped myself in blankets and I sweated. It was pouring off me for about 2 or 3 hours, and had a fever. That's your kind of lymph system, particularly your lymph system, and your immune system trying to get back to normal. And it does it naturally through a fever. A fever is a really good thing to have. So again, I'm familiar with that over the last few years because I've been quite holistic in my health, but certainly I think you can get tablets to stop a fever. I'm not saying that's bad, but to me that sounds really odd that you would stop a natural process in your body. So hyperthermia treatment, I had a general hyperthermia treatment today, so I was in a box thing, and it was up to my neck, and for an hour my body went from 30 degrees to 45, and sweat was pouring off me. My head was okay and I was sweating a little bit, but I was just sat there quite relaxed and it was pouring off me. So that's to do with ridding yourself of toxins, helping your immune system, flushing stuff out. Also helps your joints and your muscles and all that kind of thing. But I can have local hyperthermia tomorrow. So I've met loads of people today at Budwig, about 6 people that come for different reasons. Most of them are currently experiencing cancer in different ways in different areas of their body. Mine is pancreatic, so I can have it aimed at my pancreas, literally. So it's not a body thing; it's a pancreas thing. So, yeah, when I talk about pancreas, I'll see if I can kind of draw something for you. But so your pancreas is a it's going to be a really crap drawing. If you look at it online, you'll see that it's way more detailed than this, but your pancreas is kind of attached to lots of different things, particularly your stomach and your duodenum. So your stomach comes down here. I don't know if this is right, it's going to be rubbish. Your pancreas head is here. Always looks really phallic when you look at a pancreas. So yeah, there's your stomach just here. No. So there's your pancreas. My swelling, if you like, or my affected area, let's say, might be, I don't know, pancreas about 15 centimetres long. Say, if you want to call it cancer, it's there. So this is what I'm being told. Look at my MRI scan, it's kind of, say there. So it's not big, it's not small. But I guess what I'm being told today, and this is the way it feels, is that 40% of it is cancer. Maybe less than that. 40% is cancer. The rest is inflammation. So I guess it would be inflammation around it. Maybe since I've been told 4 weeks ago, it's reduced. So this is the space that's left since it was 100% or whatever. I don't know. Everyone's got inflammation, but that's what I'm being told. So yeah, let me put this back. So yeah, that's probably about it today. Let's have a quick look. I can't go into the food thing because I guess the video is 25 minutes long now. But what they're telling me today is stuff that I've tried to do as much as possible. You know, don't eat refined sugar. It's horrendous and it's everything. You know, honey, date, fructose are right. Don't eat loads of meat, particularly pork and shellfish. Didn't know this, but pork and shellfish are the pigs and shellfish are the rubbish eaters of the planet. They eat the crap from the sea floor, so therefore when you eat it, that's what you eat. You eat the crap from them. Whitefish and stuff's fairly cool, but again, shouldn't really be eating a lot of meat. Portion size really important. Talking a lot about oils, cold pressed oils, olive oil, flax oil, hemp oil, these wonderful things I've been eating anyway. You can make lovely dressings out of them. Nuts are really important, need to be soaked. Fresh herbal teas, no caffeine. I won't go into the whole cottage cheese thing, but Budwig, if you look online, it's got a lot to do with cottage cheese and flax oil. That's kind of part of the magic of it. And again, you can get loads of protein from elsewhere. You don't need to get it from meat. So that's spirulina that I pointed out earlier. That's 65% protein, way more than you'd find in a steak. Don't know what steak is, but I'd say it's 25. You're getting whole grain stuff, nuts, seeds, legumes, beans, sprouts. Stay away from starchy carbs, so potatoes in particular. Sweet potatoes is fine, buckwheat, quinoa, millet in particular. Brown rice, spelt flours, fine, not a massive, shouldn't have loads of it, but it's okay. Yeah, I guess that's about it really for today. And again, they've got this kind of chai machine here, which is a meridian based thing. It's like a qigong, chi thing. Don't know much about it, but I'm going to try and check that out. And they've got some sauna thing here as well, which I'm going to do later. But for now, I'm going to chill out and have something to eat. I'm back there tomorrow at 9 o'clock. I'm going to have this local hyperthermia and loads of other stuff. But that's it for now. Hope that wasn't too much. Goodbye for now.